What's up, guys? Cardiac Sports here. I'm here to review the AFC Championship game. The NFC Championship game preview will be in a later video. We got in the AFC, to see who's going to the Super Bowl, another Manning versus Brady Bowl. As everyone knows, Brady has most of the wins between the two. But, you know, as Peyton Manning had said, and everyone says, you're going to write this how you want it, but at the end of the day, it's the Broncos versus the Patriots. We're not picking who's the better quarterback, and that's who's going to the Super Bowl. It's what team is better and can come out with a win, and that's who's going to the Super Bowl. So, you know, when you break down the quarterbacks, very similar characteristics. The main difference is obviously the amount of Super Bowl rings. Stats going to favor Manning. Super Bowl rings obviously favoring Brady. You know, Manning has not done very well in the playoffs. He has actually had 8 one-and-outs or one-and-dones. You know, they did win last week, so he was able to, get over that hump, so to speak. But this is not going to be an easy game for the Broncos. You know, when you break down the offenses, you know, both of them are kind of similar. You know, there's no doubt that the Broncos have the more dynamic offense, you know, with Eric Decker and, you know, all those guys, Welker and so on and so forth. That the overall offense is definitely handed to the Broncos. But when you break down the defenses, both of them are really, really close. The points per game, the Patriots holding their opponents throughout the season to 21 points per game, and the Broncos 24 points per game. And the Broncos did do better in yards per game, but obviously the game is not decided on how many yards a team has. One team can gain 600 yards and kick 3 field goals, and another team can gain 200 yards but get 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and they're going to win. So as you break down that game, it's very difficult to pick an outright winner. I'd say it's going to be high scoring. I think the over-under on it is 55 points. So, you know, that's about 27 points, 27 and a half points a team. I think that it could get into the 30s easily. Most people was actually going over on the 55 points, 55 and a half points it is. So, the big difference for me, the Broncos are at home. And the Broncos have the slightly better bend but don't break defense. Or, you know, actually they have the better defense overall slightly. The ranking is kind of far apart, but when you look at the actual stats, I think the Broncos is 19th ranked defense and the Patriots are the 26th. People tend to say that Peyton Manning has done more with less. Tom Brady has done more with less. Is referencing Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. So Tom Brady hasn't had very many Pro Bowlers that he's been throwing to and handing off to, as Peyton Manning has had a lot of weapons, which is fair enough. But then you have to bring up the fact that who's had the better defense over the course of this span? I think it's no doubt that when you compare the Colts over the span of the new millennium, the last 13 or so years, as well as the Broncos defense that they have now, Peyton Manning's never really had a great defense. Now, the Colts had a pretty good defense for a couple years in there. The Patriots, year in and year out, until recently, has had the best defense. And one of the better defenses in the league. So, you know, you have to take all that into account. And the reason I say that that's an important factor is because if you have a good defense, you're going to get more opportunities at the ball. You're going to get better field position, and overall, you're going to have more just ability to be able to create points and win games. Especially if you're not able to score that many. Peyton Manning, pretty much his whole career, has just been outscoring teams. But that's not to say that that Manning's better than Brady. Obviously, you have to wait till the end of someone's career to fully assess, what someone has done. If Manning plays 3 more years and gets 3 straight Super Bowl rings, which people will say, wow, that's crazy, that can never happen. But John Elway got 2 Super Bowl rings in his last 2 years. So it's definitely not impossible for him to go back to back or so on and so forth. Brady did it. He won 3 out of 4. And actually, they've been there a couple times against the Giants in which they weren't able to win. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that what if Manning gets a couple more rings, or even just one more ring? You look at stats, and Manning's stats are going to supersede Tom Brady's in all the important statistical categories. And then you have to wait for Tom Brady's career to end before you can really compare the 2 quarterbacks, I believe. But it comes down to this game and what I believe is going to happen. The important thing here is defenses. Who's able to stop the other quarterback and offense as a cohesive unit the most is going to get the win. I look for the Patriots to run the ball, keep Peyton Manning on the sideline, usually Garrett Blunt. He ran for 4 touchdowns last week against the Colts. Denver's defense is probably a little worse against the run, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Bill Belichick is a great coach, so I'm sure he's got a great game plan. And as much as that points to me picking the Patriots, I think that the game being at home for Denver and Peyton Manning having maybe the pressure of it being maybe his last season, according to how his neck goes, I think Peyton Manning also somewhat in his mind wants to put a kind of a cap on this. Brady has, 66 or 70% of the wins between when them two face each other. I think that Peyton Manning and perhaps maybe a last touchdown drive or game-winning touchdown drive, something like that, wins the game. Maybe 34-31. So yeah, I got the Broncos winning 34-31 at home and advancing to the Super Bowl. And would it surprise me if the Patriots won? No, not at all. I think if the Patriots do end up winning, I think it's actually going to be a bigger point spread. So if the Patriots were to win, I think it may be by 2 scores or so, because generally that's the way it works with them. Other than obviously them coming back from a 24-point deficit or something like that at halftime in the regular season. But they also are scheduled to play each other next season, so that'll be cool to look for. But in this game, I got the Broncos winning 34-31. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Leave in the comment section below who you think will win. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. The next video coming out will be the Seahawks versus the 49ers and a preview of that game. And also, after both the games complete tonight, I will have a post-championship weekend review, and then we'll look ahead to a little bit of the Super Bowl matchup. Until next time, I'm out. Take care.